Good evening. Thank you all for coming to the Congressional District 1 Candidate Forum. My name is Jennifer. I'm one of the leaders of Hands Off Kenosha. Hands Off Kenosha is a nonpartisan group of residents who support grassroots organizing, community care, and collective action. Our group was born out of the April 5th, 2025 nationwide hands-off protest of DOGE and their dismantling of, vital government agencies. Our local movement was started by one person, grew to a core group of about 15, and now boasts over 700 members. Thanks. This is the most caring and dedicated group of people I have ever had the pleasure to work with. I would like to acknowledge our Hands Off Kenosha team. Please stand. They are amazing. We couldn't do any of this without them. Okay, Hands Off Kenosha. In the past year, we have hosted multiple events, including 3 No Kings protests, a Veterans Memorial Day vigil, and a CD1 candidate meet and greet. Many of you were there. It was really, really cold, so the exact opposite of today. Each of our events includes some sort of mutual aid, such as a food drive, school supply drive, or a hygiene drive. Additionally, we fulfilled wish lists for 5 families from Women's and Children's Horizons for the holidays, and we recently completed a beautification project for the veterans and other residents of the Dayton Care Center. Next Saturday, we will be hosting the Get Out and Vote rally at Civic Center Park, which will include a school supply drive to benefit students in Kenosha. If you would like to learn more about Hands Off Kenosha or join our email list, please come talk to one of our members after the forum tonight. Thank you.
Hi. Is it still on? Okay. Hi. My name is Mary Marcinkus, and I am the other half of this team for CD1 Forum. Jen is my partner, and I must say we've had a lot of fun. We'd like to welcome you here tonight, and we are excited to offer you our candidates for Wisconsin's 1st Congressional District. Okay? We have 2 of them with us here tonight. The person that currently holds the seat is Republican Congressman Brian Stile. We invited him here tonight, but he declined our offer. But we are a nonpartisan group. We don't like that he didn't come, but you know what? We're not going to worry about it. Someone else could not come here tonight, Mitchell Berman, who is a Democrat. He had a prior commitment, but we will be showing an opening and closing statement of his. The candidates that are here tonight, actually there are 4 candidates running now. I don't know if you know, but one dropped out. Okay, so the candidates that are here with us tonight are right over here. And gentlemen, when I say your name, can you please stand? Miguel Aranda. Yes, give them, hey, thank them for coming tonight. And Lorenzo Santos. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming and making our CD1 Forum a success, because it will be. All right, now our program is going to consist of 4 parts tonight. The first part is going to be opening statements, and our candidates will have, 2 minutes? Yeah, 2 minutes for an opening statement. Then we will have the second part, which will consist of 4 parts. It will be like their opening statement, I said. Then second will be the question and answer. Third will be their closing statement. And last, we will have a 20-question, 10-minute lightning round. And you know what? That's going to be really fun. I know Mitch and Laurel are going to make sure it's fun. Okay, I'd like to introduce our moderators now. The first one is Laurel Marcinkus McCormick, and yes, she's my daughter. Her father is sitting in the first row. We are proud parents. And the second person is Mitch Stow, who I like to call my son. So, Mitch and Laurel, can you take it away now and let the party to begin, pals?
Am I good? Oh, there I am. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Laurel. Is it cold in here or is it just me? All right, so first I would like to say good evening, everybody. Good evening to our candidates and our members of the audience. We would like to remind the candidates, as well as the audience, that this is a forum and not a debate. We want to ensure that each candidate can share information about themselves and their priorities as a member of the House of Representatives. Our primary goal is to give voters information to help them make the best decision at the polls. Let's start with introductions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to tell us who they are and why they chose to represent Wisconsin District 1 in Congress. Because Mitchell Berman could not be here in person tonight, we offered him the opportunity to submit a video introduction, as my mom just said, so we're going to go ahead and play that. Take it away.
Candidates would be successful. Berman. And I'm running for Congress because we deserve a representative, unlike Brian Style, who knows what it's like to struggle and put in an honest day's work. I was born and raised right here in Wisconsin in a small rural community. My parents were working class. My dad built a small roofing business from the ground up, and my mom worked long hours at the foundry. They taught me that hard work matters, that you keep your word, and you always look out for your neighbors. I went to public school and became the first in my family to graduate from college. I worked 3 jobs in school just to make ends meet. I know what it's like to wonder if you're going to be able to pay your bills at the end of the month. I've spent my career as an emergency room nurse, including the last 11 years at the VA, taking care of the men and women who served our country. And now, I never planned to run for Congress, but I got tired of hearing how my patients couldn't afford the medication that we were sending them home with. And I got tired of politicians telling working class people like us to lift themselves up by their bootstraps when most of us can't even afford the boots. I believe that working 40 hours and making a living wage should support a family. If you get sick, it shouldn't mean that you're going to go broke. And I believe that we need to end the corruption and the grifting in Washington and hold this administration accountable, putting working families ahead of Brian Styles' billionaire donors. And I believe that no matter who you love, where you were born, or how you pray, but all of us should get a shot at the American dream. That's the type of country that I'm going to fight for every single day. Thank you.
Oh, I guess move it. And we will begin the remainder of our introductions with Miguel, followed by Lorenzo.
Is that my cue? Do we have any Republican spies in here, by any chance? So I'm over at Walworth County, so usually the opponents that I'm competing against are Republicans, and so that's why I'm asking that question. And I'm always very cautious of who's in the room. So my name is Miguel Aranda. I'm running for this district. It's a Whitewater story. It's very focused on Whitewater. There's no consultants involved. At this point, it's almost a 1 or 2 man team doing all of this. And so I grew up in Whitewater. My parents immigrated from Mexico to Whitewater about the early 90s. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but they were of mixed status. We were a mixed status family, and I still have relatives and family and friends who are involved in that situation. And so that has been something extremely personal personal to me. Style and Ron Johnson, I don't know if you all remember that. They were running the election or helping out Trump, and they came to Whitewater and they made a big spoof out of it. And so they were calling pretty much all of the Latino students as undocumented immigrants. They used different words, but I'm not going to go into it. And so that's one of the main reasons, but also I grew up working class. We grew up poor. I remember growing up in a mobile home, we didn't have a bed at like the first few days. Public education is how my wife and I succeeded. We now have our own house, 5-bedroom home. I have 3 kids. They're 11, 9, and 4, and both my wife and I work full-time. So with everything going on, I just want to say a big thank you to Hands Off Kenosha, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't think I was going to make it this far. For someone like me, without a consultant team, without rich friends, without rich connections, there's a reason why I've made it this far. And I've been very frustrated with everything going on, and that's why I put my name in. So thank you.
Good evening, everybody. 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Lorenzo Santos, running for Congress against Brian Stile. So first, I want to start off by thanking Jennifer and Mary and the entire Hands Off Kenosha team for everything you've done. Thank you for putting on this event. I'm an emergency manager. I'm a former naval officer. I've been a former Navy reservist. I've been a regional sales manager. I understand the national implications. I understand the international implications. I understand the economic implications of what this administration is doing right now. This administration is coming for our right to vote. They're coming for the free press. They're coming for our ability to feel safe in our own communities. They are turning our streets into a war zone. They're sending our troops to Iran to hide one of the worst things that this country has ever done, and that is cover up one of the largest criminal enterprises known as the Epstein class. In this administration, they said that they would fix the economy, they said that they would fix our health care, and they said they would not get us into any other forever wars. Not only did they get us into another war, they lost that war. That's why I'm running, because we have to have a Congress that stands up against the President of the United States. Brian Stile is afraid of this president. He will not stand before his own constituents in a room like this. He will not disagree with the president. And you only need to look at a few of my posts to know that I have no problem disagreeing with my own party when it matters and when it's important, just as much as I'll disagree with Republicans. And we're going to need someone that no matter what can hold the line, that's going to stand up for this district. I don't care if a Democrat or a Republican is president of the United States in 2028. I think it'll be a Democrat because we're going to do what we need to do. But I will stand up for the 1st District of Wisconsin no matter who is in the White House. That's why I'm running.
Thank you, gentlemen. For the open-ended questions, each of you will have 90 seconds to respond. The questions were submitted by Congressional District 1 voters online and over the past 6 weeks, and even here in person tonight. The questions were then sorted by the theme and chosen or combined to allow for the most complete picture and most identifying revealed questions that we can provide to the audience. While the candidates received the opening and closing statement prompts in advance, they were only given an idea of the topics that had been covered, everyone. And gentlemen, unlike presidential debates, you will only have 90 seconds.
Okay, can you hear me? All right,
I can hear you.
good. It's the most important person that can hear me. All right, so Jen from Kenosha asks, how do you propose keeping the president from bypassing Congress on important issues such as foreign wars, immigration, environmental laws, and health care? Similarly, Joni and Lori want to know, how you would hold any current or future president accountable for their actions. We will begin with Miguel, followed by Lorenzo.
All right. So some of the actions that we could do, if I were elected office, especially in this position, the hope is that we can get the Democrats also in the Senate. But the first thing as a House we would do, number one, is impeach, right? The president. But the main focus is what can I bring to this congressional district and the voices that I am hearing. And how can we advocate and see if there's synergy with other representatives in the country that are willing to align with us? Because unfortunately, if it ends up being a Democrat House, which is a probability, and then a Republican Senate, there's not much movement that we could do there. I know sometimes the people want to see a fighter, and I'm a school board member, and one of the things that I do, and I promise people, I'm not going to overpromise you. I tend to be more realistic. I look at numbers. I have an MBA in finance, and so I share with people, what can we do? Where can we collaborate? If it's not a deal that we can do, then we walk out. But like I said, a large portion of our district are also Spanish speakers, and so when I talk to them, there are opportunities for alignment, and then we can work together with other legislators at the federal level and see if we can get more allies. So thank you.
And that's a really good question. How do we hold this administration accountable? This is a president who, from day one of the first things he did, he pardoned January 6th rioters. We have to have a Congress that is not going to allow that kind of thing to happen. We have to have a Congress that is going to hold the line. One of the reasons I take that so personally is because my cousin was there on January 6th. My cousin is Officer Eugene Goodman, who stood the line against rioters that were there that day. And this president spat in his face, in the face of all his colleagues, by trying to support the people who attacked the Capitol. And I take that very personally. One thing we have to understand is we haven't had the numbers to hold this administration accountable. We will have the numbers. On November 3rd, Donald Trump becomes a lame duck president. The reason he becomes a lame duck president is because we are about to have a Democratic majority. That's not in question. The question is, will we do what we need to do to make sure that the 1st District of Wisconsin is a part of that majority? I think the answer is yes. We will be a part of that Democratic majority. What also comes with a Democratic majority is we will have the gavels. We will be in charge of the committees. We will have the chairmanships. We will be able to subpoena and call in everyone that was responsible for this war, for attacking the Capitol, for the Epstein files. We will have the power that we do not have right now. We will get it done on day one. Thank you for the question.
Lucinda, Liz, and Ronald each asked a form of the following question. Many Americans believe the Supreme Court needs to be reformed. What is your vision for the Supreme Court? Does it need to be reformed? Could the Supreme Court keep moving forward? And how do you propose achieving your goal if you believe it needs to be reformed? We will begin off with Miguel.
Me again, huh? So again, going more to the realistic side is, I know being in a position of public service, I know how it feels like when people attack you. Like for example, as a school board, I don't get compensated. I'm the youngest one and the second longest serving school board member. My house is right by the facilities of the high school. I listen, unlike style, I listen to all the open comments. That's requirement of our meetings. And I always tell people, you can swear at me, you can attack at me. I will listen to you, whether you're Republican or Democrat. I'm here to serve you, all of you. And so, what was the question again? Same. Supreme Court. So just protecting the Supreme Court, how we can aid them, defend them. I don't necessarily, that doesn't mean I agree with their decisions. If I had a magic wand, I would love to do what Mexico recently did, is all of their federal judges have to go through an election, and there are term limits. They do not stay there for life.
I think we look at term limits, but I've got a 3-word answer: stack the court. We got to stack the court. We've got a guy right now who is in Congress who we're playing Where's Waldo with this gentleman because we don't know where he is. That's going to work. We'll talk about universal health care later, because the fact that he can sit in Congress and we don't know when he's going to show up for work, when he's going to do his job, but he has some of the best health care possible, and he doesn't want everyday Americans to have that health care, that's a problem. So first, we stack the court, because the same guy that's sitting up in a hospital bed getting taken care of when he doesn't want most Americans to have that kind of health care stole a Supreme Court seat from us. So we have to make sure that we fight back. We have to get that seat back. And a lot of times, the only way to do it is to play by the same rules they played by. There's nothing in the Constitution that says just because you're a few months out from an election, you cannot place a Supreme Court justice on the Supreme Court. Somehow we allowed that to happen. It will not happen with the next Congress. We need to make sure that we have a Supreme Court that matches the electorate, because Donald Trump's going to be in office for a few more years. So we cannot allow him another seat. The way we fight back right now is, yes, we do look at term limits, but we stack the court as much as we need to fight back against the cheating that they've already done.
Brittany, Karen, and others would like to know about your plans for introducing and funding bills. What is the most important piece of legislation you would like to pass? And what is your plan for funding any bills that you would like to support or write? We will begin with Lorenzo this time.
I'm really excited about this. All right. The first bill that I think we should be putting into legislation is Medicare for All. And we have this fight a lot because, just like I just talked about Lindsey Graham, he's in a hospital bed. He's getting taken care of. There are a lot of Americans that are not being taken care of right now. Or not Lindsey Graham, but Mitch McConnell, excuse me. I'm sorry, we got them mixed up.
There's a lot going on.
They both were in the hospital and they both were being taken care of. Obviously, Lindsey Graham, that's another conversation. But the point is they got health care that they didn't want most Americans to be able to have. So we need to make sure that we are not doing incrementalism. A lot of people think we should have a public option. The problem with public option is that's more expensive. In the long term, if we take care of everybody right now, in the long term, over a 10-year period, we actually save money. And here's the thing about my opponent. He decided, instead of doing Medicare for all, instead of taking care of more Americans, he was going to give a tax cut to the rich, and he was going to take away health care for millions of Americans. And how do we pay for it? One of the best things I've seen is we're seeing it in New York. The capitalism capital of the world, Mondani taxed the rich. A lot of people said we couldn't do it. He did it, and they're paying for everything that New Yorkers need.
Thank you, Mr. Lorenzo.
We should be able to do that here.
Thank you,
A
Mr.
2% tax
Lorenzo.
on people making $50 million or above.
Mr. Lorenzo,
it's about time we do it.
Time. Thank you, sir. We are at 0.
The first legislation that would, as a League of Women Voters member, it would be the John Lewis Advancement Voting Act. It's about bringing power to the people. I know it's difficult to work with what we have, but I truly believe that the people will step up. As a candidate who's running this district, again, like I said, with a lot of lack of resources, it's going to come to all of you running as if you are running for this seat. You're going to have to door knock. I don't know if if you want to raise your hand, how many here canvass for any party? Canvass, door knock, make phone calls. If you don't, I want to encourage you to start doing that, because it's going to take more. Don't wait for the candidate. You're going to have to make the movement. It's going to come down to you all. And then the 3 other priorities for legislation are universal child care, which is meant to uplift all of us. It's going to uplift our Social Security, our public education, our business growth, and it comes down to affordability as well, with increasing the economies of scale. Number 2 is public education. Not only is it going to focus, with everything going on with our reading and math scores, if you have been following that, but it's also a national security as a country when we're competing with other countries. And then number 3, they're all touched with affordability, would be immigration reform. And as I mentioned before, immigration reform is a difficult one. They've been trying to do it since the mid-90s. And so what I would advocate is for administrative policies. How can we make things faster and quicker for individuals? So if people were to knock on my office, I would be able to help them with that.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for respecting your time. That's a big ask these days. Question 5 comes from Mary from Pleasant Prairie. She would like to know, how would you ensure that the federal government appropriately funds and continues to protect students' educational rights? And I would like to emphasize this to you, gentlemen. I was impacted by this. My research was cut from the Trump administration for PFAS chemical research and additional on student educational personal rights. My lab partner was deported in front of me, and it was one of the most tragic days in my years being in college. So this comes from me and my heart as well. We'll start off with Lorenzo.
And that's a great question. The fact that we're seeing a lot of questions about basic science right now, we have some of the hottest summers in the entire history of mankind right now, of human history. And we have an entire administration that is questioning whether or not climate science is real. That's an education thing. We just saw Robert F. Kennedy Jr., part of what we're seeing with this public health crisis, with people getting sick, is because he decided to take away requirements for long-term parasite tracking. That's education. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. So what we need to do is first of all, we need to make sure that we are providing the proper foundation. One of the things with the proper foundation is making sure that our schools are fully funded. A part of that is making sure that we are fully funding special education as well. We need to also make sure that we do not have 2 education systems with voucher schools and school choice. Schools should not be choosing their students. Students should be able to choose their schools. And what I just said before when I was talking about that wealth tax, 2% on anyone making $50 million or above, they can afford it. That's going to take care of Medicare for all. That's going to take care of tuition-free schools. That's going to take care of universal child care. That's going to lift all boats, and we can do it in the next Congress.
Thank you, Mr. Lorenzo.
Very quick, because I work in education as a faculty over at UW-Whitewater. So that's one of the big reasons I put my name in, because public education was not being talked about whatsoever at the beginning of this race. I put public education. I've worked in undergraduate research programs. I currently work in under the Upward Bound grant, which is under TRIO Network, and I am at the front lines of those cuts. I've had colleagues who have been laid off from the University UW system, and so I see the impact that is going on right there. And with the research and everything going on as well, with sustainability, helping those in underrepresented, marginalized groups, it's happening right in front of us, and we are letting it go. And I see it, and it's not being talked about at all. And that's why I put my name to put in public education, because it's wonderful that the candidates now are talking about it, and we need to fund our public education. We're going to go through a referendum in Whitewater and possibly in Burlington. They lost one recently in Delavan, Darien, and that is not a party issue. That's not a Democrat issue, because I know Republicans are also, they care about public education, and I hear it. And I'm from Whitewater, and they are not happy with what's going on. Thank you.
I understand that was a very impactful question, but given that we have a little bit more time allotment tonight, Laurel and I would like clarification on the issue of students being illegally deported, and we would like to give the candidates 20 seconds to answer how you will intervene and stop this and how you will advocate. We'll start off with Mr. Miguel. 20 seconds, please.
Wow, 20 seconds, that's very fast. So I used to be an advisor. I started a Dream Scholars and Colleagues. We helped undocumented Dreamer students. It's a mess. There's DACA, there's Dreamers. Dreamers started in 2001. I'm not gonna go through all of it. I've helped fundraise for scholarships. I got full rides at UW-Whitewater and then other institutions nearby. So I have been there, I've seen them. You know, when I tell people, when I advocate, people generalize, think like, oh, does he have papers? I'm a U.S. citizen. I've been able to recruit other U.S. citizens because we have family. We care about what's going on. What I would do if I was a congressman, like I said, going back to the administrative level, helping them out, connect with the offices. I'm already doing that where I can, providing references, a letter of recommendation. I tell parents, as a school board member, I'm willing to put my name for you when you're going through that process. So I'm doing some of that already, but I have to, I'll go to jail for it too.
Woo! Mr. Lorenzo, you're up.
Yeah. Very simple for me. My background is in Homeland Security. So number one, we would abolish ICE. ICE has got to go. Make no mistake, ICE is a terrorist organization. What they are engaging in is the definition of domestic terrorism. They are causing intimidation, bodily harm, and death with extrajudicial. This is outside of the courts. They're killing Americans on our streets, and the people who are doing it are not facing any consequences. That is not acceptable. So that's number one. ICE has got to go. We've got to replace it with an agency that actually has compassionate immigration. We used to talk about that, and there were some Republican presidents that even talked about that as well.
Thank you, Mr.
So
Lorenzo.
ICE has got to go, and we need to pass
Thank you,
immigration
Mr.
reform.
Mr. Lorenzo, thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy asks, there we go. Cindy asks, the current Congress has adjourned multiple times with bills pending on the floor. Do you find an issue with this? And if so, how would you address it? We will begin with Lorenzo, that's where we're at, and then Miguel.
Yeah, I find an issue with it, but here's the problem here, is it's because of who we have in the leadership. We've seen the same thing in Wisconsin with the Assembly Speaker, Robin Vos, just gaveling everyone out. And they've still got time in the session to get things done on behalf of Wisconsinites. Mike Johnson gaveling Congress out of session. You've got even Republicans saying, hey, we might want to get some work done. We can come back. I mean, there's no other job that I can think of that if you do your job less than half of the time, you still get paid a six-figure salary. So here's what we got to do. We got to make sure that we vote in a Democratic majority. We make sure that a strong Democrat is in charge of the next Congress because they will set the schedule for Congress, and they will make sure that we are in session getting work done on behalf of the American people. We got to get that done.
So I would come in with a background as an organizer. I would be doing all this work either way, completely for free, and I'm doing it this time as a candidate. And over at Whitewater, we've had difficulties even recruiting for city council and Whitewater School Board. I'm actually one of those individuals that goes out, and not only do I campaign for myself, I've won twice, and referendums have passed that I pushed for capital and safety at the municipality level. But I've also recruited candidates, even when candidates who say, you know, recently, a black woman. And people told me she would not win. And guess what? She won. She won. I put in that work. I door knocked. And that's what I'm telling you all, to get active. You are not active at the moment. Call people. Call your friends. I know sometimes it's hard to talk to Trumpers. Listen to them. because some of those Trumpers signed my nomination papers. And if I wasn't running, I'll bet you 100% Lorenzo wouldn't be up here. I'm going to put a bet on that.
Now, gentlemen, I have the easiest question for you of the night. Gwen from Kenosha wants to know, what is your stance on U.S. support of Israel? Now, I know that you both are very busy men, so I want you to have knowledge that in the past 48 hours, 102 Democrats, I believe, in our caucus has changed their response on the issue of voting no, not to support. Again, it is a major development, and I feel it is fair that you are aware of this development. Repeating the question, what do you believe the role of the U.S. should be in achieving peace in the Middle East, and what is your stance on U.S. support of Israel? We will begin with Miguel.
So I have been very clear. I would not accept any AIPAC funding, not like that they're approaching me or knocking on my door whatsoever. But one thing that, I saw the videos, I don't have any military background, but what happened in October, that's inexcusable of what Hamas did to attack those innocent lives at that concert. But also what Israel is doing, it's genocide. I've shared it before. I'm not afraid to say it. I know there's other constituency that they just irk when they hear that. But one that hit me really hard was when the Trump administration, without permission of Congress, they just attacked the building and they killed innocent children. And I have a daughter who's 11. I have a son who's 9 and another son who's 4. So when I wake up, I see them and I see the fathers on those videos, and that is totally unacceptable. So when I make these decisions, I'm coming on as a father and somebody who has sacrificed a lot for them and is going to continue doing that for them. And they have been a big motivation for me to run in this race. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So, first and foremost, I will not accept AIPAC support or money. And I can tell you, thank you. Right now, it seems that there's only 2 candidates in this race that can say that they have not taken money from the Israeli lobby. So I'll let you do the math on that. What we need to understand is there is a genocide in Gaza. It should not be hard for a single Democrat to say that, to understand that. This is a human rights issue of epic proportions. There is a famine in Gaza. Every international organization that you can think of agrees with this assessment. And the United States has a moral authority to play a position to make sure that this does not continue. And we have to hold Netanyahu accountable for his behavior. We have to make sure that, yes, Israel has been one of our longest standing allies, but when your friends are doing the wrong thing, if you're really a friend, you tell them that they are doing the wrong thing. The United States must do that with Israel, and specifically Netanyahu. I'm not talking about the people of Israel. I am talking about its government. Just like we don't want people judging us around the world based on Donald Trump and his leadership, we've got to base Israel right now on their leadership, and that's Netanyahu. He's got to go. So that's where I stand on this. As Americans, we have to hold the line here. This is a human rights issue. And together as Americans, we can stand up for human rights around the world. That shouldn't be hard as a Democrat to say.
As a woman, can you hear me? Okay. As a woman who was affected by the overturn of Roe versus Wade twice, once within this past year actually, I would like to know, what is your stance on abortion? And do you believe that the ability to abort should be extended past 21 weeks in Wisconsin?
And to add additionally to that, I have a sister who I hold very dear to my heart who suffers from PCOS. And given some of her symptoms that she had, that she's needed hospitalized, sometimes that would not be treated as polycystic ovarian syndrome. It'd be questioned if she is pregnant or not. That endangers women's lives, and it is unacceptable. We have many local representatives, including Representative Tip McGuire in our area, who always stands up and says, I am unapologetically pro-choice. We are wondering your stance tonight, gentlemen, and we will start off with Lorenzo.
And again, just to repeat, what is your stance on abortion, and do you believe that the ability to abort should be extended past 21 weeks in Wisconsin?
I want to first start off with what Representative Tip McGuire says, and I will echo those sentiments. I am unapologetically pro-choice, absolutely. And then I also want to say to Laurel, I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you so much.
This is a situation where too many Americans have the GOP entering into some of their most private decisions. And first of all, as a man, I have no business telling any woman what to do with their bodies. This is a decision. I know we have a sexist and misogynistic administration here, but we need to elect more women to be making these decisions in our Congress and at the state level. That's what we've got to do. And yes, specifically for the 21 weeks timeline, I want to make this clear. Those decisions need to be made. We're in a church with a woman, her doctor, and if it fits, with clergy, with our spiritual leadership. If that is the right decision for that individual, and in consultation with the appropriate people that they choose, yes, absolutely. And that's what we've got to fight for. The GOP says they're for freedom. We need to act like it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Going back, yes, I support in pro-choice. And then very simple. I would also accept going beyond the 21 days? Or 21?
21 weeks.
I'm sorry. It's been a long day, 21 weeks.
Don't you worry, it's hot in here too. You're good.
I just got off work right after. Yeah, but my wife actually, so my wife and I, our first daughter, she's 11. She got the service that she needed at Women's Free Clinic. She was told that she had precancer, and if we were going to have kids, it would have to be soon, or she would have to have a hysterectomy. We were not married at that time. We probably had about a year dating, and so that's one of the things that I understand being in that room with her and with the physician, how we were going to make that decision of our future. And so having that ability to make the decision on our own and giving that power to our own, it just felt that we were able to have more influence on our own lives. And so that would be 100%, again, pro-choice. One thing I want to warn all of you within this district is, yes, being a Latino male, being part of the Latino community, they tend to be very pro-child, and so you have to be careful with the verbiage. If you go on the website, it says women empowerment, and that's something that if you go and door knock and call people,
Thank you, Mr. Miguel.
just
Thank
to
you, Mr.
focus on
Miguel.
that verbiage. Okay, thank you.
Just another easy, simple question. What is your plan to address the substantial healthcare crisis in America? We will start off with Miguel.
I would also support Medicare for all. But if there's a way to do it, because again, it's legislation that would have to go through all of that, and I don't want to give people the false promise that that's going to pass if I were to win. And so that's where the initiative comes within those three variables of universal child care, public education, and immigration reform. And it's really, I guess I'm gonna put my finance skills here, is to bring in a younger population into the market. That way people's insurance costs and premiums go down in that way. Right, again, childcare, because right now if you look at the economic population tree, it's the youth. A lot of people are not having children, especially my generation who are millennials, who they would wish to have children, but it's too costly, or they have student debt, which I would be for forgiving student debt for those who have student debt as well. So to get there, that's why I'm proposing all of these little legislative pieces, so it's a domino effect to get to Medicare for all. My hope is not, if I were to be elected, not to be there for 10 plus years, because I strongly believe in term limits, but that would be a way to start. And then also for immigration reform, there's a lot of individuals who still want their own American dream and they want to be here and they're willing to work for it, and they would be contributing to that health system. Thank you.
The short answer is we need to establish Medicare for all. What I want to say about that is when we get the question, because we're having a conversation in the party, and this is an okay conversation to have, but it's between progressives and moderates. People who want to get there incrementally and people who say we should be realistic. But I want to ask everyone in this room, is Donald Trump president of the United States? Did he become president twice? And how did he do that? He got nominated 3 whole times. Things that people don't think are possible if you do the work. Now, I hate to use him as an example, but I don't want to hear this mess about we can't do it. It's too much. It's too hard. We need to do the work. We need to make it happen. Because right now, people are dying. People do not have the health care that they need, and if they had this health care, they would still be here, a lot of these people. This GOP, they got Donald Trump elected, president of the United States, and they're getting a whole lot of their people elected in offices that are voting to take our health care away. So they're getting the opposite accomplished. Why can't we get elected and make sure people actually do have health care? We can do it together. We don't need to be negative. We can make it happen.
Joe and Amy both want to know, how will you reverse environmental damage and build alternative energy sources nationwide? We will begin with Miguel and then Lorenzo.
So working at the university, I have a lot of colleagues that have told me a few years back that we've already passed the point of no return. That is debatable, but they're looking at the weather forecast of what's going on, and that's a big worry as a parent I'm assuming I'm still going to be alive for quite a while. So those are the things that we would have to go back to the Paris Agreement deal. Again, as a congressman, there's so much influence that we are able to do, but I would continue advocating for it. I would push for it. I would speak about it, make public statements as needed. But we would have to go back to a lot of that legislation. I would also jump on the bandwagon for the Green New Deal as well. So all of these legislative pieces are already in place. That's where I would put my votes and my advocacy and support also those candidates or those people in those offices who are running and proposing that legislation. I will be honest, that's not an area of expertise. Mine is in education, but that does not mean that I would not be pro-health and I would not be pro-sustainability. We would continue advocating for those legislation pieces, and that's where we find synergy and continue fighting for those. Like I said, I have an organizational background, and if I can help with the Spanish language component of it and educating a lot of constituency who are completely unaware of the situation, and I can do that in Spanish, I can do that for a lot of constituents or a lot of office holders that might have large Latino populations. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to echo the Green New Deal. It's not so much legislation as it is a framework to make sure that we are going into the future. And this also fits into this data center question, because we've got one planet, one Earth that we've got to take care of. And we need to make sure that we have people in the next Congress that are willing to fight these big corporations that are more concerned with profits than they are people in our environments. And we need to tell them that Wisconsin is not for sale. We need to have an economic framework that goes into renewable energies. We can harness the power of thermal, hydro, of air, solar. We can do this, but we have to have people in Congress that are going to take a hard line on this and that are going to fight tooth and nail for this. And we can do that. The Green New Deal is that framework. Where we get caught up is where we have people that are too afraid to be strong on these issues. We need the next Congress to be unequivocal in our prioritization of our environment, because we have an entire other party that doesn't even believe in climate science. They're not going to be helpful on this issue. So that's what we're going to do together. And we can get it done. We can get it done. We're going to have the numbers. We're going to have the power. We just need to make sure we vote the right people into office to make it happen. Thank you.
Mary from Kenosha wants to know, what is your view on members of Congress receiving donations from PACs, super PACs, and corporations, as opposed to individual donations from constituents? And is any of your campaign being funded by PACs or super PACs? We will start with Lorenzo and then Miguel.
Well, if you just saw my recent filing, FAC filing, you would know that I am not funded by super PACs. So it's important to look at this and understand that we had one of the most pivotal races in our entire history with Kamala Harris running against Donald Trump. And if we look at those numbers, she actually outspent him almost 2-1. The numbers do not necessarily equal wins. We had one of the richest people in this state run against Tony Evers. We had Eric Hovde run against Senator Baldwin. Money doesn't equal wins. People-powered grassroots movements equal wins. We have to make sure that we are getting our base out to vote, that we are bringing new voters who have never participated in the political process into the fold. And yes, we've even got to talk to Republicans, because I can tell you this, they are just as angry at what they are seeing because Donald Trump and Brian Style lied to their faces about what they would do, and especially us young people, because we've got to live with this mess much longer. And they said, hey, we're going to support you. And younger Republicans supported Donald Trump and Brian Style. We have a coalition. We need to talk to everyone. We need to leave no conversation unhad. And we can win this election. We've got to bring everybody along. And that's true for our even reddest of red districts or counties, as well as Racine and Kenosha.
Oh my goodness. With the recent Supreme Court ruling, they just opened the Pandora's box even further for super PACs to just donate to candidates like crazy. It's going to be almost impossible, in my opinion, at the moment, for individuals such as Santos and myself, who come with a certain background and maybe, again, don't have those rich friends or rich family members to even break through. A few weeks ago, I was reached out by the Center of Equality, Free Thought. I'm probably getting their name wrong. I apologize if any of you are members here. But what I will have to say, what they shared with me, they're a PAC. So not only would I deny funds from super PACs, but also just a PAC. They said they have some money, they're willing to contribute. I said no, because that's a promise that I made to the individuals that I'm fighting for. But one thing that I want to share with all of you, and the reason they approached me, is that they are from the DC area and they're concerned about this race and who the #1 fundraiser is in this race. They're looking at this very closely, and I am for pro-campaign finance reform, especially contributing for candidates who might not have the funding. So if there's a state-sponsored system in that way, I would advocate, again, to put in regulation in the congressional and in Congress to limit the funding of individuals and what they can put in as well. It's going to be an uphill battle, but like I said, we got to start somewhere, incremental or just full blown.
Thank you, Mr. Miguel.
And then we get other people to go on as well.
Thank you, Mr. Miguel. Now, I understand as of recently this subject has died because of the nationwide protests that we all collaboratively have done in this room, and I'm proud of everyone who united together to fight against this. But there is threats every single day to Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid behind closed doors now. It is not an open threat anymore because they know the people will rise against that. What are you going to do to ensure to protect the viability of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid funding to completely end the discussion, to support it? We will start off with Lorenzo.
There's a guy named Paul Ryan who used to, and I think I remember, I'm not supposed to say names here, but he used to say he was not going to, make these cuts, or he was going to cut these things because we can't afford it. We're not solvent. Here's the problem that I have with that logic. We have paid for wars a world away. We have bombed schools. We pay for death and destruction. And Pete Hegseth will go with a straight face and he will talk to Congress and he will say, we need money. It takes money to kill bad guys. And this is a guy who, look at all his tattoos, and we're in a church. He swears up and down that he is a religious man. But he is going to Congress and asking them for money to kill people. That, first of all, they don't know what they're doing. They're bombing people in boats off of the coast of South America. We have admirals who are generational talents who stood the line against this man and were fired. So my answer is, we have it in our budget to make sure that Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security remain solvent. But we need to make sure that we have the right people in office so that the funding continues. We cannot let this administration tell us we can't pay for it. The budget is there.
So one thing that's going on in Western societies is France, for example, they increased the retirement age. That's one of the first things that I started noticing. I've heard conversations, read a lot of articles that that's what Republican legislators are trying to do. I get it. They're trying to save money. They look at the numbers. Again, that's why we're proposing universal child care and immigration reform just to act as a buffer. But that is not the end goal. There's two end goals that I would love to propose. One is universal basic income, because that would help especially with automation and robotics. That's a big concern that a lot of our 20-year-olds or younger 30-year-olds are concerned about. And then the other one that when we talk about not having funding for certain things, like we don't have funding for childcare, but we have funding for the wars. We don't have funding for the teachers, but we have funding for bombs. So in Mexico, what they recently did is they expanded Social Security for women who stay home and take care of their children. And that is something that I would definitely be on top of and advocate for, because I'm as a father, I'm not always there, and I know how difficult it can be as a stay-at-home mom as well. So my wife, we both work full-time, and that's even difficult on our own. But if she were able to stay home, we could make the decision, if we had that benefit, that she could stay and take care of the kiddos versus both of us working home or working full-time and having to find childcare. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Sheila from Kenosha wants to know how you plan to make yourself accessible to your constituents, We will begin with Miguel, followed by Lorenzo.
As you all can tell, I'm totally exhausted right now. It's been a long day. As I mentioned before, as a school board member, I take that's one of my top priorities at the moment, especially with everything going on at the school level. There's even the small local politics going on. But like I said, I go up to Republicans, I go to Democrats, I want to hear from them, I want to improve. I get no benefit out of it. I'm not going to get paid extra for it. Send me an email, give me a call versus starting rumors. I do that already, completely for free. And when I see that Style does not open that up or he has closed telephone sessions, that bothers me because he's not helping some of our state legislators that are friends of ours. He's not helping our local municipalities who are suffering. I talked to my neighbor is a union president of the police force there, and there are things that he would love to see and are not happening. And what we ended up doing, because I talked to so many constituency, there was their kind of pet projects behind the scenes was a capital referendum and a safety referendum, because I talked to so many people and I was able to get a lot of buy-in because the state and the federal level, the state legislators, both Republican and Democrats, I get frustrated at that level. It came down to the local level. You know what? We as a town are going to do something about it. We did, and both referendums passed.
So a few things. Have in-person town halls, that's number one. That's part of the job. Current guy doesn't do that, I don't know why. Well, I do know why. We gotta make sure we have someone who is not afraid to meet their voters. And here's the thing, I'm not always gonna make calls that you're gonna 100% like. I'm gonna admit that. But guess what? The job is standing before you and explaining my reasoning, explaining where I'm coming from, and more often than not, always making sure that it is in lockstep with what everybody here wants. That is a bare minimum of the job, and anyone who's seeking a title that says representative should be able to do that. So that's number one. Number two, use social media. We have a new medium, and on my Facebook, I'm probably one of the only candidates. If you look in the comments, they tell you not to look at your comments, but I'm in the weeds sometimes. You know, people think, oh, how is he responding to me? But I'll respond to you if you comment, and sometimes I'll be in the weeds of my comments, making sure that I'm actually responding to questions or comments, and we'll just be meeting. I like to have coffee. I'll have meet and greets at coffee shops. My job is to be as accessible to you as possible. That is not an annoyance. That is not an extravagance. That's the bare minimum of representing your constituents.
Thank you both for your thoughtful responses. Each candidate will now have 1 minute to make a closing statement. We will go in reverse alphabetical order. I'm not sure why I said that, considering there's only 2 people. So now we will invite each candidate to come up and recite the alphabet. Please, I will begin. All right, please tell us, A, B, C. Please tell us why voters should choose you for this position. We will begin with Lorenzo, followed by Miguel.
Because of my experience, I'm ready. I'm ready to take the fight, not only, I'm not supposed to say my opponent's name, but you know who he is, and also the guy in the White House. We've seen what their policies are. They are not benefiting everyday Wisconsinites. They're not benefiting everyday Americans. They lied to us about the Epstein files and releasing the Epstein files. They lied to us about making the economy better. They have wrecked it in record time. They lied to us about health care. I think Donald Trump still only has concepts of a plan when we could be passing Medicare for all. And they lied to us about America First, no forever wars. They got us into another war, and they almost immediately lost that war and made the enemy stronger and richer than they've ever been. I understand what's at stake. I've been in the military. I've been deployed where we are sending our troops now. I understand the implications of those decisions. I've been a regional sales manager. I understand the economy. And I understand the moment we're in. And I'm ready to not only fight against my opponent right now who's doing nothing, who's an empty suit, I'm ready to fight against the orange guy who does not want to see this seat flipped for the first time in over 30 years, but together we're going to do it. Please vote for me on August 11th. Thank you so much.
Now, I haven't asked Lorenzo in private conversation, so I ask you, are you the first African American running for this seat? Would you know?
That's a good question. I don't think I am.
You don't think you are? Oh, okay. So I asked that question because I want to give a big thanks to a lot of the volunteers of Hands Off Kenosha. I did the research on my end, so I would be the first Mexican American on the ballot for this district. And it all came down to many of you helping us get those signatures, especially coming from somebody who almost didn't make it when their parents came to this country because there was no access to health care, or my mother was being denied in several clinics when they first came here. And so just for me being here, talking to all of you has been a huge honor and a huge privilege. I tell people I'm gonna go all the way to August 11th, and after that, we'll see what happens. But, you know, if I can't fly, I'm gonna keep running. If I can't run, I'm gonna keep walking. And if I can't walk, I'm gonna keep crawling. And that's what I want all of you to do, no matter what. I know it's frustrating, it's hard, it's difficult. I know in this district we've done the same thing over and over and over and over again. And one thing, the only other number that we have besides fundraising is the Latino vote. That's the other number that we have. And I'm the only candidate who can speak Spanish.
We have Mitchell Berman's closing statement, and it says in the fine print here, Mitch move screen, play video, Mitch move screen back. So that's what he's doing right now, in case you needed to know.
Hello again, and thank you for allowing me to submit a closing statement. As Democrats, we all want the same thing. A representative who will stand up for us and our communities, and finally bring real leadership back to southeastern Wisconsin. The question isn't whether we need change, but it's who's built the campaign that can actually deliver it. Our campaign has done the work. We've built a strong, experienced team of staff and organizers. We've traveled the district and knocked on thousands of doors, listening to voters and raising the grassroots resources needed to compete. We've earned the support of community leaders, elected officials, unions, and organizations because they believe in our message and they know that we have the strength to win. I'm not asking for your vote as a politician. I'm asking as one of us, as a neighbor, an ER nurse, a union member, a husband, and a father. I've lived the challenges facing working families today, and I'm never going to lose sight of who I'm fighting for. This election is our opportunity to choose a candidate who isn't just talking about change, but who has built the organization and the momentum to make it happen. It's time to take back our voice. It's time to take back the House. And if you believe that Wisconsin's 1st Congressional District needs a representative who's going to show up and advocate for working people and fighting back against Washington corruption every single day, I'm honored to earn your vote. Together, we can send the political establishment a clear message that the working class and middle class folks of Wisconsin's 1st District have had enough BS.
hear me, but he's moving it back. So, yeah.
Gentlemen, as we know, our friend who did not decide to join us tonight, Brian Stile, has a wonderful habit of not showing up to votes or abstaining from important votes. We will be doing a lightning round question tonight with your yes or no panels. As you have them, flip them over, yes or no, get used to that. There we go, you got it.
It's all about the wrist.
It's all about that. It's a flick of the wrist. I want you to think about these questions as we are asking you as you are sitting on the House floor. These are very important questions to us. These are important questions to community. And no, you do not have the option for abstention. I didn't get you a yellow. I don't got a yellow card for you. So you must answer yes or no. And if anyone has any questions about why they vote this, they can discuss with them in the great room after this. So let's get started. Yeah, stand up, please, gentlemen.
Do you believe that refugee resettlement puts the United States at risk in terms of national security?
Do you support gun safety laws such as universal background checks, red flag laws, safe storage requirements, and a ban on assault weapons? This is a yes. This is yes and no. Cool. Thank you.
Do you believe our current criminal justice system disproportionately impacts certain communities?
Do you support federal regulation on AI data centers?
Do you support full equality and protections for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer individuals, couples, and
We didn't even
families?
have to finish the question.
Oh, let me do that one.
Yes, of course you can do number
Do
6.
you support women's rights to make their own health care, voting, and economic decisions?
Do you support Bernie Sanders' proposal on an ultra wealth tax?
Do you believe that we should end the war in Iran?
And Iran.
Iran, sorry.
Iran. Yes. Do you believe that all individuals should have access to high quality, affordable, and non-discriminatory health coverage?
Yeah, that's right. You be quiet. Do you believe that convicted felons should lose their right to cast a ballot?
Do you believe that convicted felons should lose their right to cast a ballot? Okay, we have a difference of opinion up here. Do you support legislation protecting LGBTQ employees from discrimination at work?
Do you support funding the Centers for Disease Control? Okay, you know what? Hold on a minute. Do you support?
The CDC.
Oh, okay. Do you support funding the CDC to research the causes of firearm violence? I know what this say. I know what it is.
Do you support raising the federal minimum wage?
Do you believe that sincerely held religious or moral beliefs should dictate which customers a business services?
Do you support reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act with extended protections?
Are you committed to supporting the winner of the primary and encouraging your supporters to support them as well?
Okay, now you know.
It's Mary's turn.
And you give a big hug to each other at the end.
Hi, you know what? I just want to say something. Gentlemen, you did a good job. Oh my God, did you bring the party to the party? Wow, you are on fire. And also, our moderators, whoa, you made it fun. Hey, who would, guys, raise your hand if you're happy that you were here tonight. Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you all for coming this evening. We would like to thank Pastor Susan and her wonderful congregation. I can't say enough about her and about this church. They took everything we asked for, didn't charge us, provided us with treats for after and before. I mean, I can't say enough about this congregation. They have been wonderful. Thank you so much, so much. I hope that many of you brought things for their blessing bags so that they can give to homeless people, is what they do. I think they said they do that with that. So right now, I would like to have you adjourn to the great room where we will have our candidates. If there is a question that you did not agree with, that they answered, or if you would like to ask further questions, I know there was a gentleman in here that said he wanted to ask some questions. They're going to be there. Ask them. Okay. Yeah, we're going to be there. Okay.
Mary.
One last thing I want to say, though, is the people that are in Hands Off Kenosha, Jen and I would like to meet with you, so as everybody else can go to the great room.
Mary.
Could Hands Off Kenosha please be here? And one more thing.
Mary.
I just want to say thank you to the audience for making this very successful for
And
us.
Mary,
Thank
Mary,
you. We
Mary.
worked hard.
Mary.
And we
Mary.
really appreciate everybody that came. And that's all I have to say.
Mary,
Okay,
Laura,
you're excused. You may leave the room. I was
Mary,
a former
Laurel,
teacher.
and I have one last thing.
One
we have one
last
last
thing.
Okay, Laurel
All right.
and Mitch, they have something to say.
Laurel and I just want to thank you guys so much for coming out and putting up with our goofiness. We're almost best friends, and we're very busy all the time, and we wanted to take time and be here with you guys tonight, so thank you.
Thank you.